Good morning, welcome teachers and all viewers. Today is 7. So I welcome you all for a Cat 2 Spoken English series of SERT, streaming on YouTube and SERT official channels. So ఈరోజు మీతో ఉన్నది టీ మొహమ్మద్ ఇస్మాయిల్ and resource person we have Dr. K.N. Shobha Garu from Chennai. And today's topic is vocabulary and spoken English. So really amazing. I welcome Dr. Shobha Garu. Namaste, ma'am. And I also welcome Pokuri Srinivas Garu to the session. I request Pokuri Srinivas Garu to introduce Shobha Garu to the viewers.
Yeah, thank you, Ismail. Welcome on the days. Today we have a fresh session with Dr. Shobha Madam Garu. We all know her well, but we remember all the about Madam now. Shobha K.N. is a teacher, researcher, and a teacher educator. Currently working as a assistant professor of English at Anna University, and she is a gold medalist in master's education and USA certification in teaching English. Dr. Shobha has authored textbooks and workbooks with the Cambridge University Press and Orient Black Swan for learners of English language at tertiary level. And she is also of the strong conviction that 21st century skills of communication, critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration are the vital to both learners and teachers of English language, because English opens doors. So, Madam, please open the doors of all our Andhra Pradesh teachers. Heartily welcomes to this session.
Thank you so much, sir. So good morning, Andhra Pradesh. A very fresh morning with lots of new ideas, just like Srinivas sir mentioned. And I have also told you many times that English opens lots of doors. So we are trying to explore spoken English. We are trying to learn certain concepts that are both new and old. When we are trying to learn new concepts, there are so many things that we will have to change in our outlook, accept a lot of new ideas, new ways of learning. Okay, so we are trying to give you the best, and hopefully I'm expecting all of you to practice with the materials that are being shared. And with this small introduction, let us go to today's session. So as you all know, today's session is a very important session, vocabulary. So vocabulary, as you all know, is nothing but words. Vocabulary refers to the voice that is coming from inside. We saw phonetics, how various sounds are produced. So vocabulary refers to words and the sounds the words make. So let me share my screen now. So vocabulary for spoken skills. Before the session started, there were many queries. Is it vocabulary for spoken skills or vocabulary and spoken English? So now you have started thinking all these small words, small ideas. What difference does it make when we say vocabulary and spoken English, vocabulary for spoken skills? Definitely has an impact to make, right? So let us try and go into the session today. So look at the quotation I've used today. It says, the limits of my language are the limits of my universe. This is from Goethe. He is a German philosopher. But then look at this particular sentence. Most of us, when we speak in our mother tongue, we are able to express our thoughts, our feelings in a very clear manner. There are so many nuances. Nuances means little differences in words, right? We want to use the correct word to express the situation. When we are talking about our family, when we are talking about our emotions, there is a range of human emotions. And whenever you want to express, it can help you. That is why poets play with words, we say. That is why songs are such a huge hit. when it comes to movies. So whenever you are trying to think, whenever you are trying to express, you need so many words. Of course, in mother tongue, we know so many words. We are trying to express ourselves in so many words that we know, that we have learned. But when it comes to learning a new language anymore, in English, we know other words, we know, plenty of words we know. But then still, in order to speak fluently, vocabulary is very important. That is why whenever you have very limited vocabulary, very little words that you know, a small amount of words, if your word bank is, it becomes difficult to speak fluently. So most of us want to know how we can speak fluently, because we are always searching for the right word. That is why always remember, the more words you know, your limit will break. There will be an expansion of ideas. So always remember, the limits of my language are the limits of my universe. Map for this session today, we are going to look into 3 aspects. We are going to try and understand what is vocabulary. Then we will discuss about how to improve our vocabulary. And then we will see vocabulary for enhancing speaking skills. What kind of vocabulary is needed? So there must be one question in your mind now. Is there a separate vocabulary for written skills? Yes, when you are writing, sometimes there is a need to express your thoughts clearly, right? Because writing is serious business. Once it is registered, it cannot be, reversed. But speaking, when we speak, we substitute a quick word, we expand the idea. So there are certain words that are essential when you are speaking. We will look at that, and lots of examples, because I think when we are learning spoken English, examples are absolutely important. As I told you earlier, don't think that vocabulary is a very big grammatical term or it's a scientific term. Vocabulary is a very simple term. It means nothing but words. Words, words, words. When I was designing this PPT, I was just looking for, various background themes. And when I looked at these color, now say you are in first grade or second grade student, when you are to a crayon box with 10 or 12 colors, drawing, the child will not know which color to use. But then as we grow, we need more colors to draw. When you go to an artist, you will see the number of paints, the colors, the shades that are available. So most of you will have the experience of choosing the colors for painting your walls in the houses. You will say, no, this pink is a little darker, I want a lighter shade. This yellow is very bright, I want a different shade, right? Similarly, in vocabulary also, when you are speaking, you need a different range, a wide variety of words. Okay, so you cannot make do with the 10 or 12 colors you used in class 1 or 2. You need more colors. You need more words to express yourself. So when it comes to English, now we might have 12 or 24 colors. But now we need a big box of different colors. So what should we do to improve? The difference between the right word and the almost right word is like the difference between a lightning and a lightning bug. So lightning has more power. If you're using the right word, the feedback that you get, the effect that you get will be like a lightning. If you're using a very weak word, simple word, without much thinking, then the effect will be like a firefly or a lightning bug. That is why it is important to know many words. So when you're speaking, for increasing your fluency, we need to know more words. Now, triangle. there are three tiers in this triangle: tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Yes, it is pronounced tier. It is not tier, it is tier. In vocabulary, tier 1 refers to all the basic words that are in language. We use all these words, everyday word, inside, book, yellow, animal, street, and also we use. Normally this word, it comes out very fluently for anyone who speaks. Look at the tier 2. These are called the high frequency academic words that are found across subjects. What do I mean by high frequency academic words? Textbook, and inside the textbook, there is a vocabulary list, something like a glossary. So in the new curriculum, you have a glossary where you have the English word and the Telugu word. So there is a translation list given of all the high frequency academic words. So these high frequency academic words refers to the words that are there in the textbook, and the Telugu version is also given. So now we are all very comfortable with tier 1 words. Tier 2 words we have to learn. So as soon as we get the textbook, we will be going through it. We will be checking the ideas. We will see how it can be transacted best in the classroom. So some words that are given. Again, if you look at tier 3 words, these words are very specific to that area. Now, these words will be necessary for high school teachers, for higher secondary teachers, when you are going to specialize in that area. When you are teaching poetry, you will be teaching alliteration. Okay, the sounds. Alliteration refers to repetitive sounds in poetry. So the tier 3 words are high frequency words, and they are not used very frequently. 1 and tier 2 words. So as school teachers who are trying to strengthen our spoken English, we have to focus more on the 1 and 2 level words. This awareness we should have. We should not say when we look at a word, this word is so big. Why? How will I memorize this word? How will I memorize the meaning? How will I pronounce this word? Don't worry. We are not going to focus on all those kinds of words. We are going to focus on the tier 1 and the tier 2 words. Tier 1 we already know. Almost 50 to 60% of the words are already there in our vocabulary. When it comes to spoken English, we should check how we can put together and use that word. Okay, so please keep this in mind. Even in your reading material, I have given more explanation about this. The second thing I want you to understand about vocabulary is passive and active vocabulary. I usually focus on this aspect whenever I do a webinar or a class. Mostly when you read, you will understand. Okay, at least most of the words you will understand. And if I tell the word, you will say, yes, I know the word. The word means this. Which means that that particular word is in your passive vocabulary. Passive means it is not doing anything. It is simply sitting inside our head. Okay. Those are the words that you understand, but you cannot use when you are speaking or writing. It is dormant. Dormant means no act like, nothing is very active. It is just sleeping. Dormant volcanoes. So dormant volcanoes, fire is inside. You never know when it will explode. Okay. So dormant vocabulary is there inside every human being. Active vocabulary. So words that we generally use when we speak or when we write, those are called as active vocabulary. Okay. So how to make the passive vocabulary come to active vocabulary? So all those words are inside. We know the words, we understand them, we are using them. How do we activate our passive vocabulary? Now, inside your mobile phone, there are so many apps, there are so many facilities. Right? When we buy a SIM card, we know that there are so many facilities. But until we activate all the facilities, we do not know that they are there inside our mobile phone. So mobile phone is very powerful. It contains everything. So in the last class, I was telling you, look at these videos, listen to these podcasts. I hope some of you went and explored. If you have went and explored, please enter in the YouTube chat. I will be very happy to read it later. Whether you are able to access those videos, I told you about the movies, some TV series I mentioned, Mind Your Language. If you have started watching all that, if you have started listening to the podcast, just type in the YouTube chat. I will read it. So, how to activate our vocabulary? How to bring the passive vocabulary so that we can use it? What is the use of something if it is simply lying there, right? So, vocabulary is also like that. There is another thing called as ad hoc vocabulary. What is this ad hoc? Ad hoc means urgent, temporary, something that is there for that particular season. Now, today, if you ask, all these words have become common words in our vocabulary. Till last year, we didn't know what this COVID-19 was. We never used a word called containment zone. We never used social distancing. We never used the word, epidemic or pandemic, quarantine, isolation. So this is called ad hoc vocabulary, which means that it is used for that particular reason for a particular period of time. After some time, it might go out of our vocabulary. Yes, hopefully it should go out of our vocabulary very soon. So this is called as ad hoc vocabulary. All of us know these kind of vocabulary also. So flatten the curve. Flatten the curve refers to, because there is a high increasing level, we are saying it should become flat. The numbers should come down. So epidemic refers to a disease that spreads very fast, very wide inside a country or something. Pandemic. Pan means all. We say panorama vision in our mobile phone. Pan means all, bigger view. Okay. So, you know the Panama Canal. Pan, all America. So it is connecting Americas, right? Where is Panama Canal? Between the North and the South America. So you have certain ideas to understand. Of course, quarantine, all of you know. So we are all scared of that word. Nobody wants to go into quarantine. And isolation refers to somebody is being separated. We are all talking about computer assisted language learning, mobile assisted language learning. Now there is a new term coming in ELT, in English language teaching, which refers to TALEN. Okay, TALEN. Teaching and learning of English in isolation. This is very scary, no? Because whenever we think about teaching or learning, we only think about groups. Groups of people sitting together, discussing, arguing. That is how learning happens. Socrates, Aristotle, all these people talk about learning as discussions. But today we are talking about isolation. Okay, moving on. How to increase our active vocabulary? You have to understand that if you're simply reading and memorizing words or looking at word lists, that will not improve our fluency. For our fluency to improve, it is absolutely necessary that we pull all the words from our passive vocabulary and put it in our active vocabulary. Okay. And you also have to decide what words you need to use related to your area. Now, as classroom teachers in schools, if I know the words that are related to that particular context, it is enough. I am not a doctor or nurse or an engineer to know all the words that is related to that area. Of course, I teach in a university, a technical university, so I have to learn those words also. But in the context, what words are important, we are going to focus only on that. And one more idea to increase our active vocabulary is to do a lot of active listening. I don't have to tell you what active listening is. And you also have to record and review. Record in the sense, notice and note down all the words that you're learning and also review them. Review in the sense of keep revising. And make a habit to learn at least 3 words per day. When you're reading the newspaper or when you're watching the television, some new word comes. then you keep listening to it. Okay, you keep referring to it, you keep using it. That is very important. So moving on to how to improve our vocabulary. Definitely, what is the first secret? The first secret is motivation. We have to be motivated a lot, because the limits of your language is the limits of your universe. If you want to achieve more, you have to learn more words and also use them. You have to be motivated for that. That is absolutely essential. And then you have to read and also listen. We saw in the previous class also how reading and listening are receptive skills. They are input, right? So you have to focus on that also. Now, one common complaint I get from many students and teachers is when they are reading something, they are saying, "Ma'am, I tried reading the newspaper because you told me, but then suddenly there are so many words that are sounding all Greek and Latin to me. I can't understand these words." Right? I will tell you the reason. Because they are usually from Greek and Latin, most of the English words. I have an example here. Now, vaccine. This is also from our ad hoc vocabulary. Everybody is talking about whether a vaccine has been invented. So, vaccine comes from the Latin word which is for a cow. I have given the explanation here from vacca, which means a cow. That is how it was first invented. So, we have to be conscious of root words. It is called etymology. I am sure most of you who are watching will agree with me that those who have improved their vocabulary have done through etymology. Etymology method. Etymology method refers to understanding the root words, the meaning, and then increasing your vocabulary. So look at this example, dict. Now, dict again comes from the Latin word which means to speak. So to dictate, we do a lot of dictation in the classes. It means to speak loud for another person to write down. Right? As teachers, we dictate. Now let us see what are the other words that are related to the root dict. Dictionary, because it speaks a lot of words. Ari means a list or a compilation. Verdict. Verdict is what your judges write. You cannot change it. Predict. Pre means before. To say something before. We predict the weather. Right? So dict comes from these words. Of course, you have lot of other words which are coming from the root word of dict. Contradict. Contra means opposite. So if somebody is saying contradict, it means why are you saying the opposite? Diction. Diction means the range of vocabulary. She won the speech contest because of her excellent diction. So all of us should have very good diction if we have to speak English well. Can you now see how from the simple root dict we have learned? We saw dictionary, we saw predict, we saw verdict, contradict, diction. So hereafter, whenever you see this DICT, you will know that it is something related to speech or saying. This is one method. Let me show you another example. Rect. Rect refers to straight or right. Of course, we all remember rectangle first. A shape that has right angles, that is straight. And correct, accurate and free of mistakes. Rectify. You have to rectify your mistakes, we say. Rectify the errors, we say. As teachers, we use the word a lot. So next time when you are performing, you have to rectify all these errors, we say. Director. So director is somebody who has to see everything is right. So here you have a director whose job is to make right. So if you go on the internet and if you start exploring the root words, there are so many examples like this. Knowing the root words can be extremely important to learn more words to understand the meaning of the words, and also to use them. As teachers, we know that whenever we learn through a method and it proves to be successful, we also use it with our students, right? You want to give it to your students, you want to see how they are learning. Now, children are very good. If you use this method, they will improve their vocabulary excellently. Okay, so I strongly recommend that you use the root word method and also improve your vocabulary. So if you see in English, with 2,500 to 3,000 words, I'm sure you already know 1,000 to 1,500 words. We can easily understand 90% of everyday English conversation. If you want to read English newspaper or magazine, and in the workplace, that is in our school, this many words are enough. You will be thinking, Madam, 3,000 looks like a big number. Do I really know all those words? If you sit and start writing in a list, if you start listing out the words that you're already using, it will cross 1,000. Because even when we speak Telugu, there are so many English words that we use, right? So don't think 2,500 and 3,000 is a big number. We already know that many number of words. So you don't have to feel scared about the big numbers. I'm going to give you 10 tips that work when it comes to improving our vocabulary. Of course, the first thing is read voraciously. Now, what is this word voracious? Now you have this 1 month, 2 month time till you return to your schools in August. You have to tell yourself, I'm going to do this. You have seen a painter, right? When he wants to choose the color, when he wants to finish a painting, there is so much of hard work that is going into it. He is not satisfied with the 10 or 12 colors you give. He keeps looking for more colors. Similarly, we have to keep looking for more words to improve our vocabulary. So for this, you have to make friends with your dictionary. When I'm saying make friends with the dictionary, I'm not asking you to go and buy one big dictionary. Your mobile phone has so many online dictionary options. With pronunciation also it comes. Yesterday, Purnima was also talking about how you can use Google for pronunciation. So use all this. The third point is the most important point. Use it or lose it. If you are not using it, you are going to lose it. Okay? So if you are not going to use the word that you have learned. So whenever I used to travel, especially in Andhra Pradesh, I will be I'll be listening keenly to what people are speaking. So I will try and mix and match words. I understood that, Tondaraka means come fast, and Lopla means inside. So during the tea breaks and everything, when I used to do my trainings there, I will say, Tondaraka Lopla Randi, I will say. So they will be saying, how did you learn this particular sentence so correctly? So I will keep using it very often so that I don't lose that sentence. See, now for the past 2-3 months, I never had the chance to speak in Telugu. But then sometimes I very playfully keep telling it to my children also. Because that sentence we use a lot, right? Come fast inside. So we have to use it or we have to lose it. Whether there is a context or not at home, we have to use the sentence. Learn at least one new word a day. I told you at least 3 words. Understand the true meaning of the words. That is also important. The 6th point worked for me and most of my students. Maintain a personal notebook of words. Write in that notebook what word I learned. That word can be from the newspaper. It can be from the webinar that you are going through. Write the words. It can be from the comments that your friends are posting. Okay. And keep a personal notebook of words or phrases also. Phrase means 2 or 3 words together. Follow a process. So for each of us, each process works. It can be the etymology method, the root word method, or it can be some other method that works for you. You have to play and have fun with that particular words. I'm going to give you a lot of examples now to find out how we can play with words and have fun also. Leverage every resource you can. What is this leverage? To exploit, to put the maximum use of. So you have to do that, whether it is a podcast, whether it is a storybook, whether it is a magazine, and then diversify. See, imagine I tell you, read the dictionary every day. So every day you read one alphabet. Today you read A. So in 26 days, you will master all the alphabets and the words that are starting in the dictionary. Is it possible? It's not possible. You will tell me, ma'am, that's such a boring task. Even if I read, I'm not going to remember. So when I say diversify, use many resources. Television, movies. Okay. So several resources we have to diversify and learn. Now let us see, when it comes to speaking, I spoke about words separately. Ma'am, if I learn all the words, how is it going to help me speak fluently? That is one question we are going to address today. These are the basics that you should remember. Your passive vocabulary is much larger than your active vocabulary. Please remember this. And you can't use all the English words you recognize in your spoken English, not necessary. So when I'm going to tell you, say for example, use all the resources that you have wisely. You know, if I say leverage all the resources, you will be looking at me. You say use, why you're saying leverage? So you have to understand that all the words that you know need not be used in your spoken vocabulary. And remember, as teachers, we are dealing with learners whose vocabulary level is very different from ours. So there is no need to use big words also. Conversational fluency, that is very important. Like I told you, fluency is important. Understanding and conveying a message effectively. Don't think that fluency means speaking for 1 hour continuously, like me. That is not fluency. Fluency means whether I am going to convey the message effectively. Though I speak very good English, I may imagine, oh, my English is very good. I can speak fluently for 3 or 4 hours. But if I am not going to convey my message clearly to you, what is the use of all that fluency? Right? And keep speaking on. So effectiveness of conveying the message is important. And any concept of English language can be described by using other words. Other words in the sense, in English, there are a lot of synonyms. Now, say, for example, this is a huge building. We can say this is a big building. So there are always many words to express. Now, let us go to classroom language. What do I mean by classroom language? So as a teacher, when you go to the classroom, there are certain words that we need to know, right? Like I told you, Tondraka, Lopler, Andi. Please come inside fast. I don't have to know all the other big words. If I know these few words, I can manage for a training session. So there are certain words that you have to use. I have put on the screen. So obviously you have to say good morning, good afternoon. What is the matter? Open your, have you all finished? Be quiet. What does this particular word mean in our language, in Telugu? This is a test. You have 10 minutes to complete. Open your book. Okay. So these are some of the classroom language that as a teacher we should know. I want you to go through this and keep these words in mind. Okay. Excuse me. Now, another question that comes to our mind is, when we talk about vocabulary, what is important? Words or multi-words? Multi-words is nothing but combination of words, 2-3 words. In order to improve our fluency, if we learn separate words in isolation and we keep it in our notebook, it is going to be of no use. In order to improve your speaking skill, multi-words are important. Multi-words means 2-3 words. Combination of words is important. So if you want to speak fluently, you have to learn multi-words or phrases. That is absolutely important. These phrases or multiwords are also called as formulaic expressions. Now, what is formulaic expression? This word comes in a formula. You can't change. If you want to say I don't know, you can simply say I don't know. I don't understand. I don't want this. Can I have some water? Okay. So I'm going to ask you, can I have some water? Because I'm going to have some water now. Look at these words. Just read these words. These are some very common words that are used in spoken English. So when you are thinking about formulaic expressions, you have to understand that multi-words, not words, will help us. Okay. Now, I told you these are multi-words. It is enough if you know them. Excuse me. But then you have to be much more descriptive. In English, whom do we say their spoken language is excellent? People who are able to substitute words in a very interesting manner. Imagine you want to say that something is nice or something is good. You can use these words. Excellent, amazing, this is wonderful. Okay, so depending on the situation, you can use these words. If you're simply going to use nice, or if you're going to repeat good, then it becomes a little boring to listen. You don't have very good speaking skills, they will say. You don't have to use all the words. You can just pick and use certain words that you can find useful for your situation. Okay, so you have to be more descriptive. Describing words are very essential. Tomorrow we are looking at another vital component in spoken English, that is language functions. We will look at what are the various language functions, and in that also we will see how describing words are essential. Look at the choice of words that we can have. Now, say for example, on the left side, I have some words. Now, all these words refer to smell. Okay, our sense of smell. Odor, stench, aroma, smell, fragrance, stink, and scent. Right from the facial expression, you would have understood what the meanings of the words are. So on the right side, I have arranged these words, right? When I'm saying there is a nice aroma inside the house, something is being cooked. Okay. So when they are cooking kongra or some, very nice dish, very nice aroma comes. Fragrance, usually you say flowers and fragrance. Scent. Okay. When we use all these deodorants or perfumes, we say that scent is very nice. Now, order is a very neutral term. We say water is a colorless, odorless liquid. And then you also say smell, stench, and stink. These are all not very nice. We usually say, I smell a rat. You smell some, that's an idiom. So there are words, but then we should also know in what degree. By degree, I mean every word has a particular intensity. Okay. Now look at this language pattern. When you want to express emotional intensity, the words also become intense. Now say for example, if I want to say, I don't know, I'm very upset by your marks. I think you should be working hard. Annoyed. I'm very annoyed by your behavior. I don't know why you behaved like that. Angered, furious, and raged. These are all, higher levels of anger. So you can check many words like this that is available to see the emotional intensity. Why I'm showing these words is, in their eagerness to speak, when you learn Sometimes there is a misplacement. Okay. Sometimes we will say, oh, the principal is very because the attendance register was not on the table or something. Why will somebody be furious? Somebody will be annoyed. That is not a very crucial thing. If it is something very serious, if a question paper has leaked, then the principal has to be raged or furious. Okay. So when you are learning words, learn these colors also. Can you again see how upset is blue in color? It is little cool. But as you increase the intensity, you can see how the colors are also changing. So words are also like colors. Okay, let us move on. Now, I told you the importance of multiwords. This is a very simple task. Like, say, for example, when somebody is asking, how are you? Usually we say, how are you? These are all multi-words. Please remember, instead of learning how are you in action, we have to learn these as multi-words. We have to learn how's everything. Instead of asking, how are you? You can also ask, how's everything? How are things? How's it going? So what's been going on? How have you been? You can also be using these sentences as responses. I'm doing fine. I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing great. So you can use any of these options. You can also say, I've been busy. So if you say, I've been busy during the lockdown period, nobody will believe. Same as always. So you simply don't have to say, I am doing fine. You can say, same as always. Some people say, oh, I'm fantastic. That's a very enthusiastic answer. When somebody says they are fantastic, that energy, I also get that energy. Oh, I'm okay. Again, can you see the intensity here? When you say, I'm okay, I'm same as always. What change? Again, the intensity is very low. When you're saying, I'm doing great, I'm fantastic, then there is an increase, right? So all these intensities should also be kept in mind when you are speaking English. Again, if you look at tier 1 words, you have certain things like, these are all very common things that you will be using every day. The first thing somebody asks us when they call us is, where are you? So if you want to answer that question, where are you? You can say, I am at work. I am at the office. I am at home. I am at school, or wherever you are. So these are all multi-words that we have to keep in our mind. Sometimes you also can say in. I am in my house. You have to say at home, but you have to say in my house. Okay, house is physical. So you have to say in my house, at the office, or in my office. So these are all certain high frequency multi-words that we use. When we are talking about time, you will be saying, we will meet at 7:30 p.m. These are all correct sentences. That bullet mark, that is in the wrong shape, but these are correct sentences. We'll meet at 7:30. Let's meet at noon. We will meet on Monday, on July 15th. I always read better at night than I do in the morning. So we should not say at the morning. At night we can say. Okay, so these are all very small examples that I am giving you, so that whenever you're speaking, you can speak with a lot of confidence and fluency. Again, these are examples for people who want to improve their spoken English. I am sure most of us know these things already. Again, certain common phrases which we can learn and keep in our vocabulary. I really appreciate your help. I'm really sorry I didn't return your book. I'm not sure if we should paint the wall yellow or blue. What do you think? That sounds fantastic. Oh, never mind, it's okay. When do you say never mind? When somebody makes a mistake, you say it's okay, never mind. Could you please repeat that? When you're going to use please, you should always use could you. Okay. Can you also you can use, but could you is much more, humble and polite. Could you please repeat that? Thank you. That helps a lot. Now, why I have listed these phrases is, in spoken English, if you do a research and find out, it is absolutely important that we understand these phrases which are most frequently used. Now, say for example, when I get a call from AP, the first thing I will ask is, "Ela unnaru, bagunnara?" Because these are all high frequency. I keep using them, common phrases. So I cannot imagine Ela unnaru. For me, that comes as one word, multi-word. So when we use these kinds of words also, then it becomes part of our vocabulary. Now, when you're speaking, idioms and phrases are also one important aspect. Let us look at idioms first. So most of you are, this is one example of an idiom through pictures. Okay. I use a lot of pictures in my classroom to teach language. Those of you who have identified what this picture is about, what is the idiom that is expressed in the picture, can you please type it in the chat box? Please type it in the chat box what idiom this is. Now, say for example, when we say idioms, we are saying he is the apple of my eye. Apple of the eye means somebody who is very important. So my sons, they are the apples of my eyes, we can say. Okay. So there are a lot of idioms that we use. Idioms are like cultural expressions that don't have direct meaning, but the meaning enriches spoken language. So can you guess what this idiom refers to? I am just checking the chat box now. So many of you have started typing. Fat and thin, opposite, fat and thin, thick and thin. Thick and thin, yes, you're absolutely right. So thick and thin refers to lot of difficulties, situations that we. Let us see the answer. Through good times and bad times. So we have been friends through thick and thin, right? When you're speaking, all these vocabulary knowledge will also help you increase your fluency. So through thick and thin means we have seen difficult times and good times. So, that's the example. So this is another very easy idiom. Let me see whether you are typing the answer. Let me see whether you are typing the answer. I hope it is raining in some parts of Andhra Pradesh and also Maharashtra, all those areas. Can you tell me what this picture refers to as an idiom? Yes, I'll give you a minute. Just think. So I think most of you, sir, cats and dogs. It's raining cats and dogs is the right answer. So this is a fun way of learning language. So hereafter you will never forget. Whenever there is a rain, you will say, it is raining cats and dogs. When there is a heavy rain. Okay. So raining cats and dogs refers to raining heavily. Now this is one game that I usually play in my class also with my students. What's the saying? Now this is a very famous mobile app also. You can download and play this particular game. Lot of common phrases will come. Now this is again another phrase which we use commonly. Can you see this picture? This is called a rebus. R-E-B-U-S, rebus. Can you see this picture and can you tell me what the answer is? You can see that the letters A, S, L, E, E, P are there on the screen. And you can see E, E, P, something is happening. So what is the phrase? What is the common phrase that we use in order to explain this picture, this rebus? Are you typing the answers? So many entries are coming in. So when you see asleep, that is partially on and that is partially off, what is the phrase that we are talking about? Yes, some of you have started typing. The answer, like many of you have typed, is falling asleep, fell asleep. Very good. So falling asleep refers to, you can see how asleep is falling. If you play games like this in the class, your students also will love it. You can also enjoy. So you don't say he is going asleep, he is coming asleep. Maybe in mujhe neend aata hai we say, but then I am coming sleep. We usually say, I think I am falling asleep now. Let us move on. So falling asleep is the answer. Very good. Here is another phrase. So you can see secret, secret, secret written 3 times. But one secret alone is circled. What is that? What is this phrase? Take some time, think, and type your answers. What is the phrase that we use most commonly in our language when we write this? Of course, many of you have typed it right. The answer is, yes, I'm checking all your chats now. Top secret. Excellent. Very good. So the answer is top secret. Okay. I have another one also. You can see the words personality on the screen. So personality, what has happened to personality? You can just think. Okay. The answer, personality has been divided into 2. We talk about split personality. Okay. Split personality. He's a split personality. One day he will.
There is a question here.
Thank you.
So what is the difference between dictionary and a thesaurus?
Okay. So dictionary and a thesaurus. A dictionary refers to a compilation of all the words with its meanings. It will be given in a very simple form, right? Sometimes the meaning of the word will be more confusing than the word itself. But a thesaurus refers to a word substitute. If you are using a thesaurus, you will be knowing what are the substitutes of that particular word. Now, say for example, if you're looking for the word big, the meaning for the word big, if I'm giving you large, huge, enormous, the child will be confused because the child wouldn't have come across that word yet. But in a thesaurus, for big, it will be given large, huge, enormous, gigantic. So that is the difference. We start learning with a dictionary, but as we improve, we start using a thesaurus. Thesaurus are also available in online mobile phones.
Say, answer such question. Bhaskar is asking, what is the difference between vocabulary and glossary?
Vocabulary and glossary. Okay. Now, vocabulary refers to words itself. It's a very general idea. It refers to words, their usage, their meanings. But glossary refers to a particular set of words. Now, say for example, we are reading a lesson. At the end of it, there will be a glossary. The words in the glossary will come only in the lesson. Glossary has a specific purpose, but vocabulary is a wide term. Okay?
Thank you very much, ma'am. RPT Sundari, she is asking that from where we can get root words list and any book.
Okay, yes. Please note this down. This book is called as Word Power. It is by Norman Lewis. Okay, Normanlewis. Now, in this particular book, he uses the etymology method, the root word method, in order to learn lot of words. Okay, I will also share these details in the reading material, so you can also go through all those words. It is a self-study book, and if you definitely, your vocabulary will improve a lot. So that is one. There are many books, but this is one book that I have used, and I know that it's a very good book. It's also available online for free PDF also.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am. One more here. What is the importance of spelling and pronunciation?
What is the importance of spelling and pronunciation? Yesterday, Purnima was talking about homophones.
Yeah.
In homophones, if you see, words are similar, sounds are similar, but then the spelling is different. So definitely, depending on the spelling, when you are learning vocabulary, you should give attention. You should give attention to pronunciation, all these aspects.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Sundar, he's asking that how to introduce immortal vocabulary to our students, especially primary students.
How to introduce important vocabulary. Now, say for example, contextual vocabulary. Now, say for example, the lesson refers to going to the railway station. So, when you are going to the railway station, there are some words that are important. So, what the teacher can do is, the teacher can say, okay, now imagine you are a passenger, you are a ticket inspector. So, you are the engineer or somebody who is on the train, technical, you are the police. What words will you say? So we can try and contextualize. Every lesson, when you are transacting in classroom, it becomes very effective and easy also to introduce the words. Then the children can try and learn more words contextually.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. Sir, do you have any questions with you?
No. Yeah.
Really, very amazing presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Myself also immersed in the presentation, learned many things, and what to do to learn good English or learn much vocabulary. So many tips you have given in the presentation. Hope all the teachers will make use of the tips so that they can improve their vocabulary. So you have given the tips, no?
What I have given today, tips only, it is just the tip of the iceberg. So the iceberg is very big. We have to go and explore. The teachers have to explore and learn a lot. I'm sure they will do that. So even in the last class, when I spoke about all videos, there were so many queries asking, ma'am, give us the YouTube link, ma'am, tell us that. So I know that many of them are working on that.
Yes, ma'am, yes. You should bring all the passive vocabulary into active. Really,
Sure,
that is the need of the hour. So that improves the fluency and quality of language speaking. So thank you very much, ma'am. We'll try for that. So on behalf of all the teachers, we extend our gratitude to you, ma'am. Thank you very much. For tomorrow, we have another interesting topic for tomorrow also. On day 8.
Ismail, at the end, one small information to our viewers.
Sure.
So regarding Abhyasa app, yesterday so many asked that we are unable to find out assessment. So whenever you find difficult into that, you do one thing. Go to the library in the Abhyasa app and put the date. Suppose today, if you want to find out assessment, then go to the Abhyasa library and type the date 04-06-2020. Then you can find the collection of that day material, like reading material, webinar video, and assessment. There you click on the assessment and do that. So if you want to have for yesterday's, type the yesterday date, then it will come. Okay, so please pass the information to the teachers who are facing trouble. Certainly it will help you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. For tomorrow, we have another interesting topic: language functions in spoken English with Dr. Shobha Garu. We'll wait for that topic, and by today we'll signing out, and we'll come attend tomorrow. I request all the viewers to stick to our channel, subscribe channel, and share the channel. So thank you very much. Namaste.